Kotwal Chavadi lady ni Koyambedu vadi. That was a film song in 1998. The film was Kannedire Thondrinal. It starred Prashant and Simran. And music director Deva set it and sang a part of it as well. In that one line, Kotwal Chavadi lady ni Koyambedu vadi, is encapsulated the entire history of Chennai's wholesale vegetable and fruit market. Let us see what that is all about in today's episode. Kotwal Chavadi, two words that really don't have anything to do with Tamil. Kotwal itself is an Urdu word. It means the head of security, the police chief. And Chavadi is a Maharashtrian term which indicates an intersection of four roads, which was a common area where a market and public exchange used to take place. This was always under the watch of the Kotwal because this is where public disturbances could begin. So such areas came to be known as Kotwal Chavadi. There are Kotwal Chavadis in other parts of India as well. But Chennai's Kotwal Chavadi is very, very unique because it was a wholesale vegetable market for almost 200 and odd years. The British came to Madras in 1639, and 1 year later they began work on what was called Fort St. George or White Town. Just adjoining White Town on the northern side came up a small village which was called Black Town, which is where the natives or the Indians lived. And they had all come here to provide services to the British who were living in White Town. Further north of the old Black Town were two small villages, Mutyalpet and Pedanayakanpet. Over a period of time, old Black Town vanished, and today we have the Law College and the High Court standing where it once was. But Mutyalpet and Pedanayakanpet then became Black Town, which over a period of time became Georgetown. This is where the Tamil-speaking people, the Telugu-speaking people, the Gujaratis, the Marwadis, and the Urdu-speaking Muslims, several people came to settle. They had all come here to provide services to the British. Many of them were employed in the army. Several others were employed in commercial services. Many of them were translators or dvibhashis, men who knew two languages, a profession that would eventually become that of the dubash. Foremost in that community were the moneylenders, which is why the area is also known as Saukarpet. Sahukar is a man who lends money on interest. And a community that did this with great success as far as the British were concerned was the Telugu-speaking Arya Vaishya community. We also know of them as Komati Chettis. They became very close to the British, and as a consequence, they were entrusted with lots of responsibilities. Invariably, the headman or the person in charge of security of old Black Town was a Komati Chetty. And as early as 1703, we find that this area, which came under his control and was therefore called Kotwal Chavadi, was a vegetable garden. Maps of 1733 and 1735 write of this place as Kuragaya Komatla Tota. Tota in Telugu means market, Komatla means the garden of the Komatis, and Kuragaya means vegetables. And therefore, it became the vegetable garden of the Komati community. And it was a 50-ground plot in which vegetables were being produced. In the 1790s, when the area was under the guardianship of Sunku Krishnamma Chetty, the East India Company, under the mistaken notion that it was public property, took over the entire land. It took 10 years for the Arya Vaishyas to gain control over it once again. And once they did, they decided that they were not going to lose it. Kolla Muthurama Chetty, who was then the head of the community and who was then the Kotwal, built a temple on the premises, probably under the hope that a religious establishment's ownership would not be disturbed. And therefore, that became the Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari Devasthanam. Kanyaka Parameshwari being the tutelary deity of the Arya Vaishyas. In order to provide income to the temple, Kolla Muthurama and his younger brother Kolla Singanna, in whose name even today there is a street named in Madras, decided to build a market which could be hired out and could bring money to the temple. This became the Kotwal Chavadi market. The Kotwal Chavadi market would have shops that could be rented out, and over a period of time, this became the wholesale vegetable and fruit market for the entire city. Throughout the 19th and the 20th centuries, when caterers for weddings and other events were unheard of, and when the organizer of the event would have to go and get the provisions himself or herself, this was where the whole of Madras descended early in the morning to buy vegetables. By 3 a.m., Kotwal Chavadi would be completely abuzz, and you would find it difficult to even get into the place. There would be more than 10,000 people, shopkeepers, laborers, lorry drivers, people, customers, people buying for retail to sell in various other parts of the city. Everybody would descend on Kotwal Chavadi. And by 11 a.m., the area would become completely dead. Once again, it would come to life in the evenings. It was an institution by itself. In the 1950s, the writer Savi wrote a series, and the title was, Have You Been to These Places? He covered a whole lot of places in Chennai and other parts of Tamil Nadu. And one of them, or one of the episodes, covers the Kotwal Chavadi market. He describes the horror of walking among rotting vegetables, rainwater, accumulated mud, all of which would be churned to form a kind of paste, lorries blocking the way, people struggling to get through among those lorries, and when those lorries reversed and went forward, people having to make way for them, cattle walking in and out and butting people. It was complete chaos. And Savi, in his characteristic humor, writes that you went into the market like a fresh potato and you came out completely battered like a tomato that had been stamped upon. It was confusion and chaos of the worst order. Savi also interviewed one of the shopkeepers and asked him as to what was needed to improve the place. And the man said that you had to transfer the whole market. Where was it to be transferred? He suggested that the market be moved to where the zoo was. At that point of time, the zoo, the Madras Zoo, was behind the central station. Today it is in Vandalur, but that shift happened only in the 1980s. At that point of time, there was a proposal to shift the zoo to where the Raj Bhavan is. And therefore, the shopkeeper was suggesting that the Kotwal Chavadi market could move to where the zoo was. But the economics were truly astounding. The shops were rented out, ranging from rupees 650 to rupees 30 a month. Lorries, when they came in, would have to pay 1 rupee on entry. Laborers would have to pay a fee of 4 paisa on coming in. All this money would go to the Kotwal Chavadi Kanyaka Parameshwari Devasthanam, which was then technically administering the place. Till 1975, this market, a byword for confusion and dirt and squalor, flourished. That year, the MMDA, the Madras Metropolitan Development Authority, which today is known as the CMDA, proposed a plan for shifting and building a new market in Koyambedu. In India, the time difference between a plan and actual execution is always quite long, and work really did not begin till 1988. When it began, it was proposed that there would be 3,000 shops built at a cost of 50 crores, spread over 220 acres. Work went on for a further 8 years, and the market was ready in 1996. Rather strangely, the shopkeepers of Kotwal Chavadi filed a writ in the High Court of Madras, praying that they should not be disturbed. The court, of course, dismissed the petition, and finally the shift was made in 1996 to what is supposed to be the largest vegetable and fruit market in the whole of Asia. It flourishes. But if you ask whether is it any cleaner than what Kotwal Chavadi is, the answer would be a qualified no. The reason, of course, is that the people are the same. The shopkeepers, the vendors, the laborers, the people who go to buy. Human nature in Chennai hasn't changed all that much. And therefore, Koyambedu market could be far better than what it is now. But with that shift, peace descended on Kotwal Chavadi. The Arya Vaishya community and the Kanyaka Parameshwari Devasthanam got back their 50 grounds. And there they built a college, the Kanyaka Parameshwari College of Arts and Sciences for Women. Academics now flourish where vegetables were once sold. And there is peace and quiet where there was complete chaos and confusion at one point of time. Such is history. It can transform a place out of all recognition. I'll be back with you in the next episodes with further stories. Bye for now.